Go.
What's going on, all the gang from Holland? I'm hearing many great reports of things that are taking place all over Holland, and I'm excited for what God has in store for each and every city that is represented there. And I know that God has amazing things in store for you guys this year. God is doing so many amazing things all across Gang International, and you could already sense and feel that this third wave of revival is already beginning to take place all over the world. And it's not just exempt for the States, but the wave of revival is also called to be right there all over Holland. And you know, across Gang International, we're doing many different things that are taking place to once again take it back to the days where we were able to see people go and get sent out to take cities, to take countries all over the world in the age of their 20s. I want you to know, if you didn't know, that I believe it was at the age of 18 and 19 years old that a couple went right there to Amsterdam to start the work and beginning the pioneering stages right there in Amsterdam. And we want to get back to that place where we're able to see people in their 20s, people in their early 30s go out and take cities and go out and take countries. And there's many of you right there in that country that God has called and God has chosen to take a city or to take a country. And I want to encourage you to get on page of what we're doing across Gang International. We're starting to start gang tracks. And that is, we're beginning to get people prepared through VETI to pursue their calling, that they could begin to get their units and begin to get understanding of God's word and to begin to prepare themselves for the ultimate calling that God has in store for their lives. We're also doing things called gang homes and the Third Wave Hub. And what this is this is now a new strategy we're bringing forth, and that's bringing discipleship on a local level, where we're able to see men and women be prepared in the gang homes, in the third wave hubs, where they're beginning to get VETI, they'll begin to get all kinds of discipleship trainings, they'll begin to live in an atmosphere where they're able to be discipled and pursue the calling that God has in store for their life. Realistically, what we want to see is the culture of discipleship be ignited and in fire within every gang across the world. And that's also including right there where you're at. We should be able to hear the sound of discipleship in every gang ministry that we see taking place across Amsterdam and across all of Holland in total. And I'm excited for what's ahead. I know that this is going to take a lot of hard work. This is not going to be an easy time. But listen, God has called us to take nations, and God has called us to take cities. God has given us a promise that we're called to inherit the nations, and we're called to inherit the desolate cities. And what does that mean is that God has called us to inherit desolate cities. And what is that? That's dead cities. That's people that are dead. That's communities that are dead. That's societies that are dead. And God has called you and God has called me to bring them to life. What is that? That's revival. We're called to bring revival into the communities that we're in. We're called to bring revival across the world. We're called to bring revival across the States, across Central America and Panama and Europe, all over the world, even Australia. God has called me and God has called you as well to be a part of this promise. It's the third wave of revival, and we need everybody to get on board. We need everybody. If ever there is a time, now is the time to pursue your calling. Now is the time right there in Holland to get prepared for what God has in store for your life. We have a big promise. It's a big promise. And so we need big men and we need big women who prepared themselves, who went into the gang homes, who have went into the third wave hubs, who have went to the UTC, who have went to the MTC, people who have got themselves prepared and who have been in the shepherd's field, sharpening their sword and building up their skills so that one day we could see, like we want to see as Gang International, is that we be the feeder to the outreach. That whenever there's a need for a pastor or missionary, whenever there's a need for a home director, whenever there's a need for a director, a gang leader, a gang regional, we have an arsenal of men and women that we could send out to the foreign field. We have an arsenal of men and women and directors and pastors and missionaries and ambassadors that we could send across the world. We're the toolbox that Pastor Sonny reaches into when there's a fix that needs to take place in the outreach. We're the arsenal that Pastor Sonny and the elders could reach into and pull men and women to go out and to possess the land that is before us. And I want you to know right there in Holland, we need a toolbox. We need an arsenal box of men and women who have been prepared, men and women who are speaking the same language as Victory Outreach International, men and women who are in the same mindset, the same accord of Victory Outreach and Gang International, to go out and to possess the land that God has called us to take, and the people that God has called us to reach. And I know that many of you feel the call. I know that many of you are excited in this new season that is taking place across Gang International. I want to encourage you to get close, to make sure you're close to the heartbeat of the outreach, to make sure you're in alignment with where the vision is now. Because this vision is alive and this vision is moving, and it's important that we stay close to understand and know where it is right now. And I want to encourage all of you out there to get yourself enrolled in the UTC, to come out and separate yourself and to begin to hear directly where we're going as a gang internationally, because the vision is moving and so is the Gang International vision. And I want to encourage all of you out there, if you're living and you're a young adult, or if you're in your mother's house, I want to encourage you to get out of there and get into a gang home, start a gang home, pioneer a gang home. Let's bring this culture of discipleship right there in Holland as well, that we would see men and women be sent out all over the world, because God is calling you and I as the gang to be a feeder to the outreach. And I also want to take time to thank the regionals that have been in place there. I want to thank Pastor Randy and Sister Morale, and also Pastor Morales and Sister Cian, for all the hard work in the gang ministry. I know that they've been laboring there for many years, and they've done a great work in building it up right there. And I want to thank you for your hard work. I want to thank you for your sacrifice. I know you guys have put it down. I know it's been many years, and you guys have built something of a great foundation that now the new leadership rising up is now building on. And I want to thank you for your hard work. I want to thank you for all your sacrifice. And I want to encourage all of you out there to continue to build the foundation that has been laid before you. And listen, also, real quick before I go, I want to tell you and encourage you to get yourself to Gang Convention. Get yourself to the Gang Convention. It's coming up in July, and we want to see Europe have a strong representation there. I know this last one, you guys came strong, but I think you could do better this year. I think that you could bring more people this year. And I want to encourage you, gang out there, have some faith and believe in God, and begin to raise up your finances and invest in yourself, that you could come and witness firsthand what's taking place in the gang. And I want to encourage all of you out there to get prepared, get moving on it. Begin to prepare yourself and encourage your gang ministries, gang leaders, encourage your disciples to get themselves to Gang Convention. I know you guys could do it. I know it's possible. With God, all things are possible. But we want to see you there. We want to see you there at Gang Convention, and we could have a great representation of Europe to represent the third wave of revival that is coming from Europe. I want to let you all know that I love you. I'm going to continue to pray for you, and I'm going to see you very soon. And I hear great things, and I know I'm going to hear greater things of what's taking place all across Holland. I love you all, and I want to thank you for your hard work and your sacrifice. And let's take this third wave of revival all over Europe and across the world. God bless you. I'll see you all very soon.